Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Mimi's Musings podcast. I'm your host, Google Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Wednesday for another review. So I'll just be giving these disclaimers every time I guess, because the apartments where I live, like so many people have moved out and new people have moved in the past couple of months, and the people who have moved in are different from the people who used to be there, because there's this one neighbor who plays music at night. I think they put it on to sleep because they usually turn it on like at midnight. So it will be quiet. Maybe they'll play music from maybe 7-ish to around 9 or 10, and then it will be off. And then from midnight, the music goes back on. So I can hear it from my house. And I usually say, like, if you have very good speakers or, like earphones, you can hear them. So I don't know if my microphone picks it up, like on my phone. I don't know if it picks it up, but I can hear it. So I usually feel like maybe if you have very good earphones, maybe it picks the music up, or maybe that music is blurred by my voice. Like, yeah, my voice sort of shuts it down or something. I don't know. But when I take a pause or something like that, maybe it can go through. So if you hear music in the background, just forgive me. Take it as like some little white noise in my background to help me do this, because I feel sleepy. I had to wait until past midnight so that I could see if this is going to get quiet. But then, neighbors being neighbors, and this is Nairobi, you can't go to someone's door and knock and tell them to turn down the music, and maybe they have put it on and gone to sleep, because I know there are people who put music on then they sleep. Yeah, sometimes I do that, but mine I usually set it for a couple of minutes to an hour so that it goes off by itself once I'm already asleep. But then I don't know if it ever goes off. Actually, I don't know, because if I'm usually up at this time and I'm not recording, I'm watching something and my TV, covers that noise that is coming from outside. And by the time I go to bed, maybe I don't hear it, or sometimes I do. I don't know. Like, this place has just become different nowadays. Whatever happens, happens. Sometimes we wake up and there's noise in the morning because somebody has decided to blast music at 7 a.m. and you're like, okay, sawa sawa. Now this is today's story, and then they'll stop after 2 hours because they were getting ready to go somewhere. Then if I had slept late, then I'll go back to sleeping. Like, it's usually a crazy thing. But anyway, majirani, what can we do about them? Like, you just have to respect their space and they have to respect you, as long as they're not doing it like inside your apartment or at your door, then there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, ni kuvumilia, and you look away and you pretend you cannot hear whatever is happening outside and you move on. So yeah, it's just a disclaimer. My apologies. I'm so sorry if you get to hear the music, but if you don't, it's okay. Just ignore that entire first part. So on today's episode, I'm going to be giving a review of a South African movie, High Infidelity. High Infidelity is credited as a 2024 movie on Netflix, but on IMDb is credited as a 2025 movie. So I'm not sure which is which, but I'm going to go with the Netflix one, although it only came on Netflix a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, High Infidelity is a 2024 South African, I'll call it a thriller, written by Adze Uga, directed by Adze Uga, and produced by Amy Daman and Diren Daman. The cast members include Ayanda Boroto, she plays Larissa. Buyile, is it called Mdada or Mdadla? Mdadla. Oh my God, I'm sorry. But I think it's Mdada. Like Buyile Mdada. He plays Hugo. And Kosana Samani plays Farouk. Ngobile Kumalo plays Mpo. Jet Novuka plays Ndamase, amongst other cast members. There's not a lot of information about this movie online, so those are the only cast members' names I could get. And you know what Netflix does? It doesn't show you the list of everybody who appears in the movie, but these ones were the main ones, so the story revolves around them, so it's okay. Yeah. Now, if you like spoilers like me, go ahead and continue listening to this and watching this video. If you do not like spoilers, leave right now, go to Netflix, watch the movie High Infidelity, and then come back and listen to this and tell me if you agree with me or if you don't, because this is your official spoiler alert. High Infidelity follows this couple, that is Larissa and Hugo. So we start with Larissa. She's at the office, and Paul is her workmate and also like her BFF or something, and they're at the office, and Ndamase comes and talks to her because they were checking something that we're not supposed to be checking. So these ladies work at an insurance company. And so, yeah, she's supposed to go to church. And so she calls her husband, that's Hugo, and tells him that, yo, I'll be late getting home, blah, blah, blah. And Paul asks her, like, do you have to tell your husband everything? And she has this look on her face like she knows something that, Larissa does not know. So Larissa goes like, yeah, that's what marriage is all about. And so she leaves and decides to go. She gets into her car and she drives off. On her way, she stops at this, like, I think a crossing or something. I don't know, a junction. I don't know how you call those things. I haven't learned how to drive, so I don't know. But she stops there, and there's this guy, Farouk. He's by the roadside giving out these flyers. Like you see those ones, Daktari wa kienyeji, blah, blah, blah. So instead of hanging them somewhere on a pole, he was giving them out. But it was an elaborate plan they had. So he gives one to her and she throws it out the window. But when she goes to drive off, the car refuses to start. So he comes back, offers her help to jumpstart it. And so he pushes it, and then it jumpstarts and it goes off. So he tells her to go straight home because of the car. If she goes anywhere else, the car might stop and she might not have help wherever she will be. And so she goes straight home. She gets home and she hears these noises. Her husband is doing the hanky panky with somebody in their bedroom. And she goes and finds Paul and Hugo. Like, inside the bedroom. They're not on the bed, but they're inside the bedroom and they're very busy at it. And so they both laugh, and like even Hugo invites her to join them for a threesome or something like that. Larissa screams, and she leaves the house. So she goes back into her car and drives off, goes again to the same spot, and she talks to Farouk, I think. And because she's like crying and saying that she doesn't have a place to go. It's like she's having a meltdown. And so we see her the next day. She's at the office. She goes into Mpo's office, gives us some documents about the claims and insurance claims and stuff like that, and she goes back to her office. So Mpo is like worried. Why is Larissa so calm about what happened yesterday? She's not facing me. She's not doing anything about it. And so Larissa continues doing her thing. She doesn't care. But this one, Mpo calls Hugo and she's like, what happened yesterday after I left? And Hugo goes like, yeah, she came back, we talked, and she apologized to me for, everything that happened. She said that I slept with another woman because of her, and she apologized and we made love, and we slept because she's my wife. And so Paul feels she gets upset because like, why? And she says like, okay, time for part 2 or something like that. So she goes to the house again, to Larissa's home, and she puts on Larissa's dress. There's this red dress that she had at the beginning. She puts it on, and they have two different body types. I could fit into Larissa's clothes because you're both plus size, but she couldn't. Like, it was hanging off her body, because Mpo is petite. But she puts it on, goes and sits on Hugo's lap, and she starts, like doing the dry humping, or maybe they were actually doing something, and she films the thing. And then she takes the video, goes back to the office, and waits until Larissa is out of the office. She goes to take some coffee in the break room, and she goes into her office, takes her phone. I don't know what she did. Like, she sent this part was crazy because she took Larissa's phone, and it was like she's sending something to Larissa's phone. or maybe she was taking her email address or something. I don't know. But then, because while sending, she sent the message through her phone, not Larissa's. But apparently, everybody got the email from Larissa's email account. So I don't know what she did there. But yeah, so Larissa comes back into the office space and everybody's like surprised looking at her, and she's worried. She's like, what's happening? And oh yeah, check the phone. She checks the phone and there's this video of apparently her with her husband. So they had the same type of wig. So like the hair, the way it was wavy, maybe, but the body type was different. Their skin tones were different. I just didn't get that. Although you don't see the face, but you could clearly see that this body in this cloth, in this dress, is not Larissa's. Like, yo, I don't know what they were thinking. But anyway, so the boss comes, that is, I think, Ndamase, comes and calls her out and takes her to the opposite side of the office or something and starts scolding her and telling her that she has to apologize to everybody through an email, because usually he would fire her, but he's not going to do that. He's going to make her apologize to everybody through an email. So she tries to defend herself, but no. She goes back to her desk and she sends the email. So, Mpo gets upset because she sees the email. She was expecting a different outcome, or maybe for her to be fired or something. I don't know, but she was expecting a different outcome. Then later on, because of that anger, Larissa goes home and talks to Hugo. And it's like she's confronting him for sending the video, like recording them while they were doing whatever, and then sending it to the people in the office. And Hugo responds in a very weird way, like very nonchalant, like it's not a thing. Because I was like, why are they hiding it from us, the viewers? It was just, I don't know. But anyway, so he responds in a very nonchalant way, and she goes like, okay, fine. And then she takes off again, gets back into her car, goes, and her car stops again at the same place. Did it? I think it stopped again, or what happened? I don't know, something like that, where Farouk was. So Farouk gets into the car. She starts talking to Farouk, and then Farouk gets into the car, and she's like, you know what? I want you to kill me. And he's like, what? Yeah, I want you to help me to kill myself, because if I die, I'm going to haunt like my husband and his mistress. But if I kill them, then I have blood in my hands and I don't want that. And so Farouk puts like this white sheet to cover her nose, like he chloroforms her. But at that moment, we're not sure if he's killing her or if he's abducting her or what is happening really. And so after that, we are shown back at the office. Mr. Damase is announcing to everybody that, yeah, the police called him and they told him that Larissa was found in her car dead. So Mpo calls Hugo to confirm if he has heard the news, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, I have heard. And so there's this entire scheme that is happening with all of these people. And so later on, because she starts seeing like Larissa in that red dress when she's with Hugo in the house, there's a glass that breaks and nobody moved it apparently. And then she's at the office and there's a sticky note on, Larissa's memorial photo, like at the office, and there's a sticky note there, like, I see you. And then there's an email sent to her telling her that, like, I don't know, like I'm everywhere or something like that. And at midnight you'll also be the same. Like it was just it was a lot of, I don't want to say nonsense, but it was a lot. And so that happens. And so she feels like she's going crazy. This is Paul. And she goes back home. She calls Hugo, who hadn't answered during the day, but he responds at this time. She's in a bathtub and was she drinking? I think she was drinking. And she's just scared because she's been seeing Larissa's ghost and it's like she's haunting her and all of these things. And then somebody's at her door trying to open it. And, so she's talking on the phone with Hugo. And there's this, intense thing that they're trying to create, and then the door bursts, but we don't get shown who is coming in. Hey! So later on, because Hugo after that, he came running with a gun and everything. He gets into the house and somebody knocks him over, and he wakes up and is tied up, and it's Farouk. Farouk is the one who was in the house. Actually, yeah, by the time he comes in, he finds Farouk in the house, I think, and he sees him, and then he's knocked over or something. I don't know what they did to him. I don't remember anyway. So they say he wakes up and they start talking. So Farouk apparently is the one who came up with this entire scheme. So it was an elaborate scheme amongst these people. So remember, these ladies work at an insurance company. So they wanted to steal from the company, because there are people who, like, they sign up for insurance and they write somebody to claim it, but then they die, and the person who was written as the person to get all this money after this person dies also dies. So no, there's nobody to claim that money. So there was this 20 million that was just hanging around that company, and they wanted to find a way of kuitembesha yani. And so they came up with a plan. So Farouk came up with a plan with Mpo. They were lovers, and so they came up with a plan to infiltrate Larissa and Hugo's relationship, marriage actually, because Larissa is the one who dealt with the claims, the huge claims. So they wanted to infiltrate that, and so, make her upset, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was just crazy. The way they were explaining it didn't make any sense to me. But eventually, she was going to be the fall guy. But when Mpo told Farouk about the story, he lied about the money that was involved. And then Paul also told the story to Hugo, but she also lied, told him it was about 500,000 rand. But then Larissa told the husband and also Farouk at that moment in the car, she was like, just kill me. There's this entire scheme. You can get the money from my company, blah, blah, blah. She mentioned that it was millions. And because she mentioned that it was millions, Farouk ended up double crossing, Mpo. And he didn't kill, because he was actually hired to kill Larissa. And so when Larissa mentioned that it was in millions, he didn't kill her. He just chloroformed her. And so they had a different scheme. Like, I'm telling you, it was just round and round. A deal between Larissa and her husband, a deal between Hugo and Mpo, and a deal between Mpo and Farouk. And then Farouk came up and teamed up with, Larissa, because she mentioned millions. And then... So Farouk now starts elaborating it, what happened and how it, unraveled and everything. And then he takes Mpo's phone, because that's where the pin for the offshore account where that money was sent was. And he checks the balance, and it shows like it's 1 million and something euros, which was, I think, equivalent to the 20 million rand. And so he's happy about it. And he's like, okay, let's go. He's leaving, and so he leaves Larissa there, because he brought Larissa in, which surprised Mpo, because Mpo didn't know that Larissa was still alive. She actually thought that Mpo was really dead, because after she died, by the way, the boss, now Ndambase gave Mpo Larissa's job. So that was also their scheme, so that Mpo will be the fall guy when Hugo and Larissa take the money. And I think their plan was also with the boss, that's Dambasa. So they were going to take the money, and Mpo was going to be the fall person. So anyway, Farouk leaves and Mpo follows. And she's like, I don't want to be left with these people, the police, blah, 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 blah. So they leave. We cut to another place. Mpo is on the bed drinking, I think it was champagne. And Farouk, who looks different, by the way, I don't know, he looked different with this cap that he was wearing. He looks different, and he's checking the phones. He wants to transfer the money from Mpo's phone to his. But then when he goes to transfer the money, it cannot work. And that's when they realize that they were conned, all of them. The money, they do not have it. So they thought that they left the money they once won, but no. So the plan was between Hugo and Larissa to, get rid of the person who was coming in between their marriage. So Larissa apparently was a church girl. She was as wicked as her husband. And that thing of Hugo sleeping with Paul is because the marriage had gotten boring and he needed to spice it up. And so when he spoke to the wife, blah, 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 she agreed to actually do that and to make Paul pay for it through, getting arrested because of the stealing of the money. So, yeah, these ones, they realize they don't have the money. We pan to these other guys. They're in a car. That's Hugo and Larissa. And she's taking photos of her and her husband. And they're being driven off to some place, I don't know. And they talk about it. And yeah, that's where the movie ends, with them driving off with the money. So, yeah. I I don't know what to say about this movie. And the reason I call it a thriller is because of that moment where, like, Larissa's Larissa's image being shown on the mirror, or that moment where Mpo is in the bathtub and somebody's trying to open the door. Like, it felt like sort of a thriller, and I was like, did I make a mistake watching this movie? But then at the end of it all, I was like, I really did make a mistake watching this movie, because it wasn't interesting to me. Maybe it would have been interesting to somebody else, but it wasn't interesting to me. That entire scheme was complicated at its best. Because tell me how they would have known everything that, because these guys were talking. So, okay, Farouk would plan things with Paul, and Paul will talk about those plans with Hugo because they were planning to double cross Farouk. But also, Paul was planning to double cross everybody to keep the money for herself. But Larissa and her husband were also talking. So Larissa and Hugo were talking about the things that Mpo was telling Hugo. So sort of it was like Larissa and Hugo knew everything that was happening because Hugo was on the know about everything between Paul and Farouk. So the double cross became the double cross, and the double cross, I don't know. Like, I understand what they did. I really do. But for me, it wasn't interesting. I remember by the end of the movie, I was just looking at it. And I never usually remember the endings of these movies because I wasn't paying any attention. But this one, I was just looking at it and like, not even like I'm paying so much attention. I was just like wondering, why did I choose this movie? It looked like it was so good because the trailer looked like it was so good, and I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be interesting. But honestly, Aki, maybe it is to other people, but I will not even pull it down. Maybe it was interesting to other people. For me, I found it to be like a merry-go-round for no reason. Like, it was so much for no reason. Like, I don't know. The acting was good. I will give them that. The acting was good. The chemistry between those people was good. And the acting was amazing. But I don't know. There was something. It didn't quite hit the mark with me. I think I'll say that. But again, maybe it was interesting to other people. But to me, I don't remember any music from the movie. They didn't show a lot of places. So cinematography, blah, 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 is it was what I don't know. The direction was good. I'll give them that. As I said, the acting was good. It's just that the story in itself, that entire scheme, is what just didn't make sense to me. I understood it, but understanding it doesn't mean that it made sense to me. So yeah, there's that whole thing. But anyway, it was still interesting for people who like that kind of thing. You don't know. So yeah, go and watch it on Netflix. It's still on there. By the way, most of the movies that I've watched in the past, if you have not watched them yet, like the shows that I put on Wednesday, most of those movies that I recommend, if you haven't watched them yet, some of them have already left Netflix. So if you haven't caught up with those movies, I'm sorry, you might go and check them and you find that they're not there. Please do not complain. Understand that there are movies that come to Netflix and they are given like a 1 year thing. I think Click Click Bang is also out. The Kenyan one, I had Mkurugenzi saying that. So I don't know. Like, whenever I say go and watch it, if you find the summary that I gave interesting, go and watch it immediately. Because if you don't, then you lose out because it might not be there the next time you want to watch. Because I had a list of the movies I needed to watch right now, but some of them I had to cancel because when I went to check them to record, they weren't there. They were already taken down. So yeah, I'm sorry if you go to watch a movie that I recommended and you find that it's no longer there. I'm really sorry. But yeah, to be able to avoid that, whenever I say go and watch it right now, go and watch it right now. Like, after you finish this review, go and watch it, okay? So that you can also enjoy it and be able to tell me in the comment section down below if you agree with me or if you do not. Because, for me, it was just crazy. But yeah, tell me in the comment section below if you agree with my review or if you do not. Because even that Farouk guy, there's this accent he was using at the beginning while he was speaking in English. Because mostly, this movie was mostly in, I want to say, Kotsa. Okay, forgive me, South Africans, if you ever listen to this, and that was not Kotsa, maybe it was Zulu, but I feel like it was Kotsa. So forgive me, but yeah, I watched it and most of it was in Kotsa. And then there was very little English here and there. And the first time we meet Farouk, the way he was speaking, I was like, is he trying to imitate like a fake Nigerian accent or what is actually happening? Or is there some people in South Africa who actually talk like that? You see, the importance of traveling, man. I've never traveled out of Kenya, so I don't know. The only accents I know about South Africa is when I listen to either one, their movies, or I'm listening to my husband, Trevor Noah, and, now Eugene has joined him and his other friends whenever they're on the show whenever they're on his podcast. That's when I get to hear like the different accents. But I don't know. So I don't know if he was trying to fake a Nigerian accent or that's just how he speaks English. Because it sounded weird. I don't know. But yeah, go and watch it. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. And that 5 is just for effort, for the acting that they did, because they did try. And Larissa is very, very pretty. And I'll give her that. So I'll give them 5 for that. But it didn't do it for me, honestly. But again, I stand corrected. If you're into that kind of movie, then you'll definitely, definitely enjoy it. But yeah, I watched it from the beginning to the end. And I did this review for you so that either you can go and watch it or you don't have to. If you feel like, yeah, no, I don't want to go through that, you don't have to. But yeah, make sure you do and then come and tell me what you think about it. So remember that I still have a business, Mimi's Pastry Treats. Make sure to order, please. I need your orders. Tafadhalini. Order. I'm making vanilla cupcakes. I'm making chocolate cupcakes. I'm making like such delicious, like brownies. I also make tea cakes. Like, I know people might want cakes, birthday cakes and stuff. I'm not yet there because that will require more ingredients and more things that I do not have at the moment. So I'm starting small. So try to help me, buy the products that I have right now so that eventually I can make enough money to buy the other things and maybe even train myself to make other things. And yeah, maybe at some point Mimi's Pastry Treats will be bigger and better and all of those things. Okay, so make sure to comment in the comment section down below about your feelings about my review, about the movie, if you agree or if you do not. Comment on my Instagram as well, and remember to follow me over there as well, Mimi's Musings Podcast. I've started TikTok account for Mimi's Musings Podcast, so go over there and follow me there as well. Tafadhali. The videos I'm posting here, the same ones I'm posting there, so there's no difference. But if you can't watch on YouTube and you love TikTok more, you can just go on TikTok and watch it over there, which is still okay. Tafadhali. Okay, and then remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be amongst the first people to come and watch. Okay, bye bye now.